Okay, so we'll just hop on in. First things that I just want to break down for matchups. We have Soraka and um, this champion, Jinx. Damn, that was really hard. Versus Jin and... Oh, wow, we have a Nautilus here. So, for the first part of it, I always recommend that you guys, if you can convince your AD carry, I spam, let me get it right. Yeah, I spam that over and over again. I usually like to take heal and barrier together. The reason for that is that Soraka, most of the time, when with exhaust, can never get in range of using exhaust without putting yourself in extreme danger. So that's why I always recommend that if you can get away with it, running heal and barrier. Plus, then with you're laning against someone who runs ignite, then your AD carry can use barrier when ignite goes off, and that usually buys enough time for the ignite to fade off, and then you can use summon to heal afterwards. Plus, it also allows you to heal yourself up. Alright, so immediately walk through the lane. So let's talk about aiming. Let's talk about aiming skill shots. So a lot of times when you guys see me play Soraka, what I'll a lot of times do is I'll auto attack a person to kind of gauge where they're walking before I do shoot the Q. So in this situation, right, the guy is walking at you. I would recommend just auto attacking him at the start of the fight and then seeing where he stands and then using your Q. That way you don't have to guess on whether or not he's shooting it. In an ideal situation, you just shoot it a little bit closer. That way he has nowhere to juke if he jukes in or if he goes backwards. So now you forced him away from the lane, you can just walk into the river, and all you have to do is stand right on this outskirt right here and constantly zone him, which is what you're doing right now, which is super good. But make sure that when you're doing this, you need to pay attention to how close you are to minions. So don't want to walk this far away, because if you're paying attention to the range minion right here, these minions are dying, so you want to make sure that anytime you're zoning, you don't want to walk so far away that you miss experience. What elo is this lesson? I believe it's in silver. Alright, so now you force the support away. So the next thing that you want to do is you just want to cut up and around. So we've already seen that the Nautilus doesn't do too much damage to you. And he went W, right? He went W or E. Let me check the skills. Oh, yeah, he went E. So, he doesn't have anchor or anything like that from level 1. So what you should be doing at this point in time is you've zoned the support away, right? He has to walk all the way up and around. The next thing you should do is you should just walk directly this way and then start to zone the enemy AD carry away from the wave. So make sure that you're not missing EXP from this situation. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to cut up and around and just all in this guy, actually. Not even trolling when I say that. You can just walk. If you have exhaust is best used whenever you want to just stop damage from coming in on you and get a really good trade. So in this situation, if I was you, I would have used on him from there, right? So then you cut down here, and then you just use exhaust right here. You go exhaust, and you just start hitting him over and over again and start DPSing him. That way he's not returning any damage, and you can win the trade really, really easily. Right now, this guy shouldn't be able to farm at all. You should just be walking up and constantly trading with him and zoning him away. The support doesn't have an anchor or anything like that to get to you, so you should just be constantly creating pressure in this situation. Next thing to note, like I said before, since he is only level 1, you should just be playing up constantly and looking for trades. Another problem with where you were zoning is because you zoned so hard on the river, you're not even level 2 right now when you should actually be pretty far ahead in terms of EXP. Alright, so now you have silence at level 2. Okay, so I recommend only really going silence when you're really far ahead in the lane. So if you get a really huge push and you're pushing someone in and you hit level 2 before them, then going silence. But in this situation, it's not nearly as safe because your AD carry has already lost a decent amount of HP, and you're not going to be able to silence any comboing spells. So what I mean by that is this lane right here doesn't do combinations of spells. It's not like Alistar combo or hook flay or in any sense of that, so you're not going to be stopping anything really from the silence. It's just going to give you excess damage, so it's just much better to go heal at level 2. That way also you can put potentially a second point in the queue to keep harassing at that point in time. So let's talk about positioning and pressuring the lane, right? So you have the wave right here. The Nautilus can't throw anchors through minions. So what you want to be doing in most of these situations is you want to be sitting near the minions and just throwing your Qs every time the AD comes out. The best piece of advice that I can give you for hitting skill shots is just make it so that he has no option to dodge it. So like in this situation, right, the minions are getting low. If you're in the minion wave and you're shooting Qs and auto attacking them, then what will end up happening is he either has to, 1, dodge your skill shot, or 2, run through your skill shot to hit the last hits. The lower the elo, the less they can handle like dodging skill shots and last hitting. So most of the time they'll just run into your skill shots and potentially scoot back and lose minions too. It's a good habit to start making, that you're sitting in minions and forcing people to trade with you in that way, and utilizing the low minion HP to then shoot your skill shots. Because then if someone dodges your skill shot, right, at least you're still making them actively dodge. Okay. So let's look at what happens here. So the engage starts to happen. So alright. So let's talk about like follow-up. Follow-up's like a pretty important thing. So as Soraka, I recommend that you always identify what comes next, not what happened already. So in this situation, right, he gets anchored and E'd. What you should be doing is you should actually be silencing the Jhin. And the reason for that is you want to silence the Jhin because you don't want the Jhin to then root afterwards. So you're trying to stop like what comes next, not what already happened. So in situations like this where there's 2 people that can potentially do a lot of damage to you, recommend always using your silence on this guy. And the reason for that is just to make sure that he doesn't root your AD carry and keep him pinned much longer. Kind of got lucky. They just kind of suicided at that point in time. Another thing too, let's make a habit of using exhaust before bad things happen, not after it. So in this situation, on top of using silence, what you need to do is just anytime like an all-in's gonna happen, just use exhaust. It's okay. Don't treat exhaust like ignite. A lot of people have a problem differentiating the two. So ignite is for like you're going for an all-in, you're killing someone, right? But for exhaust, it's okay to just have like a big HP swing in a fight with exhaust. So in this situation, right, they go on your AD carry. The first thing you should do, silence him so he doesn't root, then walk over and exhaust him. That way you're mitigating all the damage that's coming in on your AD carry, especially because, you know, you don't have heal right now. So that's very important that you do that. Kind of got lucky and they ended up actually killing themselves. But this is a long-ass game, so there's probably going to be a lot to talk about. So after that, I mean, for the most part, you should just be pushing. Okay, so actually, good habit to have is anytime that you are pushing the lane, what you should do is you should just always use your spells on the range minions. The reason for this is if we just look at the minion wave right now, right, your range minions and the melees are all hitting melees, which causes HP fluctuations, right? But nothing's hitting these range minions, right? So what you want to do is anytime you're pushing, and you'll see me do this a lot, I'll just use my spells on the back line, I'll auto attack them all to last hit, and then my AD carry can finish them off at his leisure because they're not taking any damage. Because standing around like this doesn't help your AD carry push at all. So make a good habit of that. Which you end up doing in the second wave, which is good. But just the wording and stuff like that's really not that important. It's important that you just get the wave pushed as fast as possible. At this point in time, you should just be backing. Oh, okay, you're not backing. Okay. So you're not backing. You're waiting in this bush. You should 100% have backed, by the way. Like, once you get, pretty much anytime you get a kill in lane, you just want to back as soon as possible and get a reset in. That way you can spend your gold. I'm sure you're sitting on like 800-900 gold right now. And now you're just kind of sitting in the lane like meandering, doing nothing, and not really using any of the gold that you got from kills. So at this point in time, okay, so magical numbers, alright? 42 CS is usually enough CS for an AD carry to buy a BF sword. So what you could do in this situation is just push all the way to the turret and then get a reset. Like, you can just put damage in this turret and then just reset. So, it's a really important habit that you need to generate in general is just stand in the minions and use harass that way. That way you can pivot behind the minions and not get hit by anchors. Because pretty much this is just silly, right? And especially because you've already hit both your spells, there's no reason for you to walk up and auto attack afterwards, because you're just leaving yourself in to get anchored, which ends up costing you your flash. Alright, so we're hitting Qs, we're auto attacking, you're avoiding the 4-shot. The 4-shots happen, so you should be walking back forward and healing your AD carry. Good, good. Got another kill, solid. But you are staying way too long in lane. Alright, you hit another Q, but you don't have anything at this point in time. And right now you should just be channeling back. Okay, perfect. You got Spell Thieves and Forbidden Idol. Okay. This is way... No, this is a YouTube recording, so I can't do anything with this. This is way too many potions. So pretty much anytime, like pretty much after your first back, you should pretty much always buy a refillable potion. Don't buy this many potions. This is way too excessive, and it's a waste of gold in this situation. So yeah, make sure that when you're buying potions, just get the refillable potion when you channel back. Alright, so the wave's pushing you. You have a pink behind you. You have a green ward here. You're in good shape right now. In this lane, since you're actually not hitting that many Qs anymore, I recommend just putting 2 points in Q and then maxing heal. That way you still get heal max at level 9, which is your prime level. And yeah, this is like more of a discretionary. I feel like the only time you should put 3 points in Q is if you're really just like, you're crushing the lane, you're constantly trading. In this lane especially, like you're not trading that much, and you get a lot more value out of maxing Q. Alright, so the jungler's coming down. Use your silence to zone. It's not like terrible, not bad. At this point in time, you're just kind of laning, which is fine. Hopefully you build Redemption first, because I've never really been a big fan of Ardent first. Okay, so you're doing this on wards, so you can get collapsed on at this point in time. That is one thing to note. Also, make a good habit whenever you're doing objectives like this and draining your health, make sure you use a health potion early. That way you're keeping your HP topped off, because by now you're already missing like a good chunk of HP, so you're in a more vulnerable spot. Alright, so you're walking up. Okay, so let's talk about how to skirmish, okay? So you take the dragon, you're getting collapsed on from two sides. I understand what's going on right now, right? So your silence is on nothing. Try to use your silence when someone uses something that locks them up, or if you're trying to stop something. So for example, right, like if your Rise uses Root, if your Volibear flips someone over their shoulder, use your silence then. Don't be too trigger happy with your silence, because this doesn't do anything for you, and you want to be able to combo with skills. Okay, so now you're pushing forward, right? You have a tank in front of you. You're already standing too far back. You have a numbers advantage, and you have exhaust right now. First thing you should be doing is constantly stepping forward over and over again, and you should have your silence right now. The reason for that you should be stepping forward is because you need to get in range to exhaust somebody, and you should be hitting Qs like pretty often. Like you're reasonably healthy and you have a huge numbers advantage, right? So you want to utilize that. Like right now you should be close to them. You didn't have to take the portal, but you should have been pushing forward the whole time and hitting your Qs to slow people down, and you could have easily exhausted this Azir right here. Make sure that you're staying tighter with your teammates when they're pushing forward, especially in situations where you have numbers advantage. Because both of your teammates just died, and like I definitely say that's your fault. That fight not going well was pretty much your fault. All right. Oh, another thing to note. I recommend not taking Inspiration Secondary. It seems like you are taking Inspiration Secondary. You should take Resolve Secondary. You can run it with Bone Plating and then Revitalize. Revitalize is super good because it's going to give you 15% extra healing on your ultimate, and it'll give you 45% on your redemption on people that are low, 40% or lower. It'll give you a lot more healing power, and it will make you tankier in lane so you can trade a lot better. Alright, so you hit level 6. You've bought Lucidity Boots. We're leaving the base right now. This is why like having refillable is just good, because then you'll always have potions with you pretty much at all times. So we're walking back to bottom. Looks like your AD carry is not here right now, so you just should stand really far back and do nothing while he just walks the lane. You can catch some CS if you really need to. Yeah, refillable is 150, but you just use it so much. I find myself actually like building Dark Seal refillable on Soraka just because she uses so much health, and it's a really easy way to keep yourself like topped off in the mid game when you're just like healing people every once in a while and not in range to Q anybody. Alright, so you see the jungler behind you, so you're just getting back. Where did we ult? You ult for top or something? Okay, yeah, you ulted for top. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, so you get hit by the anchor. Use the silence to stop follow-up. That's fine, because then you're stopping the ultimate. At this point in time, though, you should just play extremely defensively since you saw the jungler in the bottom side. Looks like you're trying to inch forward for maybe a ward on try. Okay, we now see where the jungler is, so you're good in that regard. And you have exhaust, so you can play like reasonably up, especially since looking at the items, right? Like their AD carry is useless. I don't know why he built a tier in this game. That guy's like inting. For the most part, like once you get past like once you have like a first buy go through though, for the most part, Soraka just plays behind his AD carry, which is what you're doing. That's good. And you just want to make sure that you're silencing follow-up. So now that Nautilus does have level 6, it is good to silence him when he anchors in. That way he can't ulti combo on top of it. But in the early stages, you definitely want to be silencing the other person. Why is it going backwards? Okay, there we go. Sorry. So there's not too much activity in the laning phase. It's kind of a long VOD. I feel like I've tackled most of the early laning phase for Soraka. It's good that you're using Qs on backline. That way it's just always pushing and your AD carry is not going to miss any CS. Just keeping your AD carry topped off. Good, good. Looks like all your wards are on cooldown, so there's not too much you can do right now. Another thing to note is you can actually see where fruits are. So if you, because I'm just watching this from a replay, right? Just always check like with your camera if the fruits are up, because you can see them even if they're in fog of war, which is really helpful. This is a really long laning phase. Alright, just constantly pushing. Good, good. You're getting good silences off and hitting Qs, which is always positive. You haven't killed yourself in any way, shape, or form. Looks like your ult got used. Okay, so there's a fight happening mid. Alright, sweet. You ulti to keep your volley bear alive. Seems like you're just swinging over on that. Why do you walk over to this? Alright, so when Nautilus roams, if you're not already in the vicinity for that, you should just stay with your AD carry. And the reason for that is you can constantly just push this guy into the turret and just take his turret 2v1 and harass him a lot. Plus the benefit of playing the champion like Soraka is right here, right? You can just ulti and then turn a fight in that situation. You don't need to be walking over to this right now, because this is like a pretty big waste of your time. Because basically what you've just done is you've just done like a round the world loop for no reason. If you can impact it with your ultimate, just don't bother roaming. That's one of the benefits of a champion like Soraka, is if someone just roams away from you, you can just still impact it by using heal. I do like how you're always always queuing the back line though. That's really good for helping push. Alright, we're resetting. Okay, so this is not okay. So you should never, if you go Spell Thieves, never upgrade to the tier 3 until like 2 or 3 items and you're fighting over Baron Vision. This is actually just a colossal waste of your money. Ever since they made Spell Thieves have 10% CDR, you're basically paying 950 gold for 1 extra ward, like 200 life, and like 15 AP. It's really, really bad. This is a waste. This is a colossal waste of your gold. And this is, like I said, like the potions is a waste of gold too. So now you've bought 4 potions and 3 potions. You spent 350 gold on potions already, when you could just have a refillable and you'd be pretty much getting the same level of sustain. And yeah, don't upgrade this. This is a waste of your money right now. It's a noob trap. It's okay to upgrade your Eye of Oasis, but even that you shouldn't upgrade till which is the coin upgrade, by the way. But you shouldn't even be upgrading that until you get until you at least get one full item. Alright, so you're pushing again, you're getting a turret. Awesome, awesome. Actually ended up getting 2 turrets. Nice. This game's going really well for you. So you just get this blue and then just reset. Solid. Now you have full sightstone. Let's see what item you build. What are we waiting for? Okay, cool. You're getting the redemption. And that's also why I recommend is the T3 Targon's a good one to usually upgrade? Yeah, it's alright. Yeah, it's pretty good still. It also gives you a bunch of health regen, which I really like for dealing with poke. But don't go the upgrade for the Spell Thieves one. It's really, really bad. In fact, if you see like pretty much all of the games where I play a champion that goes Spell Thieves, I never have the upgrade tier 3 unless it's like really late into the game. So you're building redemption, which is definitely the right thing to do. So that it's all more par for the course. So you should switch over to picking up resolve as your secondary instead of using inspiration. Alright, you're just kind of healing whoever you can. Just keep walking forward. You better hope that turret doesn't hit you. It doesn't. Nice. That was a fine fight. So, the game's going really well for you already. You have redemption at 20 minutes. You've got your upgrades. So far, so good. Just wanted to tackle like a lot of laning phase stuff for the most part. Those are usually the ones I spend the majority of the time. Build paths, some runes. Okay, so we use redemption somewhere. Middle. Can't really see what's going on, so that's not too bad. At this point in time, you just kind of want to be mid though. So like once the turrets go down, you should pretty much just always be walking middle. So like in this game, right? Like your AD carry doesn't need your help doing that. You've already got like reasonable wards. You should group middle and help them push that out. Then what you can do is you can walk over to these locations and get wards down, or walk over to this location and get wards down. Don't make a habit of walking bottom, especially after the turret's dead. He doesn't need any help, and you've already secured vision for him. Alright, so once again, just try not to use your silence on things that don't matter. Use it only on chain CC, or if on someone you need to stop from casting spells. Because I bet you the silence is actually pretty important. Like imagine a world where you have silence for this, and he walks over this trap, right? And then you just silence him. He can't cast this ultimate, and he probably also dies. Alright, so the fight ensues. Alright, so that's the problem I have with your silences, because you're just too willy-nilly in that regard. So then your W is on cooldown. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing, which is you need to make a better habit of standing close enough to give people heals and then step out over and over again while avoiding CC. You have your flash and exhaust up, and you need to use those summoners to stretch how much healing you can do in this team fight. So like in this situation, you should be standing right here. You should be casting heals, queuing, just kiting backwards, exhaust anyone that potentially comes in, and just DPS in general. Like you should have been healing him that whole time and gotten like 1 or 2 extra heals off. That extra time really does make a huge difference in momentum for the fights, by the way. Alright, so now we're just kind of chilling, right? Yasuo goes in, he uses silence. See, like, this whole time, yeah, it's definitely a habit you have. Okay, so Yasuo goes in, right? You're starting to walk back over. He hits the ultimate. You try to silence on it, that's fine. But you should be walking forward this whole time and just give him heals. See, you can heal him right there. Just try to make sure that you're standing tighter next to someone. Also, let's talk about CC, right? So pretty much at this point in time, the root is already on cooldown. You can see that from the auto attacks. So you only have to worry about this guy. You don't need to flash until this player gets on top of you. And on top of that, you can also just use exhaust on the Ujir as he's walking forward on you to slow him down, and then just use that to get the distance away. You don't need to be using your flash so like willy-nilly almost. Alright, so you use the silence right here, you're tossing heals, super good. You're just pushing forward, you're constantly healing him. This is what you want to be doing, this is the situation you want to be creating for yourself. Alright, so this is where a lot of people lose games, okay? You've just killed the jungler, you've just killed the mid laner, and their AD carry is dead. You should be spam pinging Baron right now. And the reason for that is just, I mean, their jungler is dead, and everyone else is really low, and all of your teammates are super healthy. So try to make a better habit of just spam pinging like Baron, so that way your teammates take objectives with you. Because right now, I bet you what happens is you guys all stand around, you do nothing, right? Nope, nothing's happening. Cool. You're not getting Baron, right? You're just not, and you'll eventually get this turret, but this turret is negligible. It doesn't matter. If you take Baron off the map, it means that if your teammates all kill themselves with Baron, you can't lose Baron too. So try to make a better habit of just spam pinging the Baron after you win a team fight convincingly like that. That would have been really good for your team, because now the Baron is on the map, which means you can lose it, and you've lost an opportunity for you to take it yourself. Also, usually when you get Baron, it's a lot easier to get your whole team to just stand in a lane as 5 people and do nothing and take turrets, which pretty much locks out a game for you. Because that should have been like the game right there, is you just walking over and getting Baron. And so you need to take initiative, because I'm pretty sure I see pings in spectator client, and there was no pings on that by anybody. Alright, so we're just healing whoever. I like the silence on that guy. It stops him from doing anything. Perfect. You use redemption when the team fight continues. Super good. Alright, solid. So at this point in time, make sure that you make a better habit of using your potions while in fights. That way you can sustain yourself back up. This is also why Revitalize is super good, because once everyone starts getting low, redemption heals for a shit ton more. Your ultimate's going to heal for a shit ton more, and just your basic heals in general will heal for a shit ton more. Alright, so your teammate's walking in. Your silence is just about to come up. Okay. So then, the fight ensues, right? You've got about 3 seconds left on your silence. You hit the Q. Make sure that you're standing tight next to your teammate, right? This Udyr can't get to you. So what you should do is just use the terrain that you have and kite around. So like in this situation, he has to go down and around like this. If you walk over to the right, then you can still heal him in this situation and be in range for silence without risking yourself. Because you still have silence this whole time, and you could have probably prevented him from dying. Alright. Not too shabby though. I mean, the game is going reasonably well for you. And as a Soraka player, you want to just get to items, and you're almost at like the peak, which is the Mikhails and the Redemption. So that's really, really good for you. So there's like a lot of walking around and doing nothing. This is why... Okay, so that's like actually a good 2 minutes. Okay, so at this point in time, there's nothing for you to do. There's no objectives on the map, and you pretty much are out of wards. So like that fight happens, right? This fight happens. Once the fight is over, the next thing you should just do is just go get you have 1 ward left, right? So you should walk over here. You can pink this brush and just green ward the Baron and just channel back immediately. That way you can go get new wards, and you'll have some vision on the Baron pit for in case they go and rush it in any way, shape, or form. Oh, actually, you know, one of the reasons why you're struggling to keep people alive too is, if this is true, you should not be maxing Q. You should only have 2 to 3 points, and then you should max W, because it increases the healing by a substantial margin. It'll let you heal people way easier, and it'll shave the cooldown down by a really good margin, and it'll make each piece of your CDR that much better. The Star Call doesn't heal you enough to warrant maxing it first. So yeah, this is like a good full like minute and a half of you just like walking around aimlessly and not having vision anywhere. Okay, so let's talk about how to use Soraka together, right? So the first thing that you want to do is you always want to drop redemption down on the situation at hand, right? And then what you want to do is you want to use your ultimate to then get someone over the edge, like keep them alive long enough that then the redemption goes off. So this fight ensues, right? You should already be dropping the redemption. You're too late on this because by the time you ulti and redemption, like this is already too late. This is already about a half a second too late. Alright, so the fight is breaking out. Actually, now I need to find out where your silence went. So we dropped the redemption a little bit late, right? We use the silence on this choke. That's a really good silence. Awesome. You actually get 2 people rooted right there. You're constantly hitting Qs. That's super good. You should block that Q for him. Oh, weren't quite able to block that Q, which is kind of bad. This is also a problem too because you haven't backed in a while. I feel like you're sitting on a lot of gold right now too, and you probably could have had like a full Mikhails here for this team fight. And yeah. This is also why it's important to be spam pinging things like Baron, because in League of Legends, team fights are usually random. Like, honestly. Oh, okay. This is not okay. This item, this is not okay to be buying in Athens. I know I understand the concept. I do damage with my Q, so then I store it, then I can heal. But you should 100% buy Mikhails. The reason for that is Mikhails converts your mana regen to health regen. So that means that every piece of mana regen is going to be health regen too, which helps you which helps you heal people, right? Because health is your primary resource. And on top of that, it will also give you 20% extra healing and shielding, which is 3 times more valuable on your redemption, which is a huge chunk of your healing. So don't build Athens. That's just not good in any way, shape, or form. It's not worth it over what you could get instead of it. Alright, so another team fight breaks out. Use your silence. It's not that big of a deal. Once again, this is like kind of from when the laning phase was happening, right? Don't flash if you don't need to flash in this situation. So try to identify what threats can kill you and then flash if you need to. Because he'd already shifted his Sand Soldiers, so you don't need to flash in that regard. Alright, so redemption goes off. You're hitting a Q. Just cutting backwards right now. Hitting more Qs. Perfect. Good silence. Now you're taking refuge behind your teammates. Really good. We're just cutting backwards right now. Not too bad so far. I don't know where your Volibear is. Oh, he's over here. Okay. So at this point in time, you've won a team fight, right? So clear this wave and then get wards down. So the structure for wards is as follows. I have a neat tool here for this. Okay, so you're in mid lane right now, right? You're in mid lane. You're just the M in this case. Okay, so you clear the wave. After you clear the way you're going to set up wards on the blue side is like this. You're going to green ward here. The reason for this green ward is that it allows you to have vision over this wall, because what you're going to do next is you're going to pink here. That way you have control of this spot, and if anyone's coming through mid, you can see over the wall and make plays. After that, you're going to shift over and you're going to get a ward over here. That way you can see over the wall if you decide to do Baron, plus you'll see anyone entering down here. Now pretty much the ideal vision is here and here, but this ward works sufficiently enough. It won't give you as much warning, but if you can't get deep wards in here, then this is the spot that you're going to want. And then if you can't get another spot, then maybe just over the wall right there in case there's a blast cone. At that point in time, then you have all your vision. Once you've made a pick through this pink, then you can move your pink to the pit, because you've got 2 pinks in your inventory right there, and then you can score kills. See, as you have 2 pinks right here. Alright, so yeah, we've got tools for that now. Haha! I'm sophisticated. Because yeah, at this point in time, the problem is like, all of your wards are just useless and defensive. If the enemy team wanted to, they could just walk over to Baron and take it at any point in time with the way you've set up vision in this game. So as a byproduct, by the way, Now your team is getting caught in the jungle and getting jumped on because you haven't established any good vision from the mid pressure that you had. And now because of that, you're just getting all in and dying. Like, yeah, he trades 1 for 1, but this is a situation that's really avoidable if you just make sure you establish good vision lines. So let's say in a situation, before we go super deep into this, so let's say in a situation, all right, you get a ward here. Derek, I can't go any deeper, and actually we're getting pushed off. Then what you can do is you can walk over and ward right here. And the reason for that is a lot of people have a tendency to pink in the pit. And if you ward into this wall, what'll happen is you'll still see people coming up and doing the Baron. But this pink ward, if it's too deep in the pit, just like even a little bit in the pit, will not spot this ward. So yeah. You just definitely want to be avoiding as much as you possibly can any situations where you just can't control it as best you can. Alright, so use Soraka ultimate again. Oh, a little bit late. I mean, that happens every once in a while. Because now, look at the situation you're in, right? Like, there's no wards on Baron at all. They could just walk over and take it whenever they want. You need to be reestablishing yourself mid and then roaming over here and getting wards done. What's the site for that map? I got you. So, in a lesson I did previously, I always tell people waves before wards. So clear the wave mid lane, then after you clear the wave mid lane, then make sure you walk over and you establish vision down. Because this is all like really rough for you. Like having to come into no vision and trying to get wards over and over again is really problematic and puts you in a really awkward situation where basically you end up finding yourself face checking for like stopping barons and stuff like that. Okay, so like I said before, right, the fight is happening. You should already be dropping a redemption. It's better to drop a redemption and not heal a lot than it is to be too late on redemptions. So in this situation, right, you're coming into the Baron pit, you should just immediately drop a redemption on all of your teammates right here so that they can start healing. Because your ultimate should be used, pretty much your ultimate needs to be used after everyone gets low to like keep people alive while the redemption is going off. That's the best piece of advice. Then next, on top of that, right, so you've used your silence. This is why I hate exhaust, by the way. The next thing you need to do is you need to be exhausting somebody. So in this situation, right, this guy is right here. You should drop your redemption earlier. You need to walk over and exhaust this guy. You can use your flash if you need to get out afterwards, but you need to make sure that your AD carry doesn't die. Also, since you were so focused on using your redemption, you actually didn't toss your AD carry heal at all, which is actually a pretty big deal in that regard. And then eventually you actually lose the Baron. A lot of that ties to just basically a lot of problems with the Gavin when you get vision down. And it's only exacerbated by the fact that they have 5 dragons, right? Like it's super easy for them to get Baron in this regard. Alright, so it looks like this game's going to come down to like 1 or 2 more big team fights, so I'm looking for those. Okay. So this fight starts to break out. You drop a silence down. Super good silence. Let's try not to use our ultimate so early. You should be focusing on just healing your teammate. You don't need to be using your ultimate that early. Unless someone's dueling, right? Nope, no one's dueling. Wait, did they just die? Okay, yeah, so you weren't ulting your teammates. So just be healing and then just be ready to ulti if he gets under 50% health. Because you're using your ultimate too early in a lot of situations too. You're too trigger happy with it. Use your redemption first and then use your ultimate afterwards. Like your ultimate should be like something that you use when your W is on cooldown and you can't keep someone alive. Or if you can't reach somebody and you're not treating it like that at all. Okay, so you successfully defend that turret. Unfortunately, you have lost Baron. I'm going to assume that you're building Warmogs next, which was pretty good last patch, but it's actually a bit weak now just because it's hard to hit 3,000 health. I don't think I'm going to be building it very often. Maybe I'll build it like last item. Okay, so we have a silence going down. Perfect. We've used the redemption early. See, even though it doesn't heal that much, it's such a better safety net than it is to have your redemption late. Okay, so I mean, at this point in time, you should just be pushing down mid. You shouldn't be chasing people. Alright, we're going in. We're chasing. I don't really need to watch you chase someone. Okay. So we're trying to end the game. We've got all the inhibitors down, so it's okay if you don't end the game here, as long as you just don't all kill yourselves. Alright, we've got damage going off everywhere. Your redemption's still on cooldown though, so you need to be mindful of that. Anytime you see someone CC'd, make sure that you walk up, use your silence on them. That way you can chain root them. And it also prevents them from casting any spells. At this point in time, you should just be healing anyone that's next to you, just trying to keep them topped off. Preferably the Rise, since the AD carry can sustain himself. Alright, so he dies. You die. Life's a struggle. Okay, seems like there's probably one more fight. Okay, now you have Warmog, so it should be pretty hard for you to die. Also, after that, you should definitely be looking to probably get an Ardent Sensor. I don't recommend whatever this is. ZZ Rot, Banner. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's definitely not worth buying. I don't think Ardent is good on Soraka, but it's definitely not something you just completely ignore. Okay, so you started Baron again. Since all their inhibitors are down, this guy comes in. You're just healing whoever. It gets taken. Remember, want to use your silences on something, like on a CC or something. So, in this situation, try to wait for your silence for someone to activate a trap, channeling spell, or maybe, you know, right here we see him getting rooted. So try to use that. Oh yeah, you're still 140. Damn, that's actually nuts. So use the redemption pretty early. You're healing everybody up as much as you can. I also recommend that you spam your W, by the way. Like, literally, you'll hear me, like, spam clicking it all the time. Because, like, you're actually missing, like, half a second on your heal, which is a pretty big deal in late game team fights, especially because you need the CDR. Alright, so you're also just trying to go in to end the game. Oh, he does end the game. Okay. So, things to note. When you're zoning people away, make sure that you're not zoning yourself out of minions. Also, make sure you're patient with your Qs. Sit in minions a lot more in your laning phase, and then harass people when the minions are low. Use your HP of your minions to be an indicator of when you need to shoot skill shots. Also recommend trying out heal barrier a lot more. You pretty much use exhaust like once or twice ever in this game. That's partly your fault. That's partly why I don't like the summoner. So those are definitely issues right there. Next, vision control. So make sure that you're establishing vision and not wasting time. There's too much walking around and aimlessly doing nothing. Try and decide on a plan of what you care about objective-wise and make sure you're securing vision in that regard. Lots of it talks about the mid-game and making sure that, you know, you walk over, look at the Rift Kit again, Rift Kit guide or whatever on how to ward. That way you can have a better grasp of that. Wait, clear the waves, then go ward, and that's going to be your best bet in pretty much every situation. So you don't lose, like, Barons randomly and stuff like that. You can prevent your team and yourself from, like, face-checking a lot of situations. Also, silence. Use silence better for either stopping channels or use it better, like, comboing. So, like, in this game, you should have been using off of Rise Ws, or you can use it on Scion when he starts channeling his Q, or if someone runs in the traps, or if Yasuo ultis. Like, you have a lot of options, so try to be a bit more patient with your silence. That way you can combo it better and make sure that you're getting, like, full root value out of it. And then also, yeah, I don't like your build. This is man, if at level 16 you still don't have enough for Warmog's passive, I don't even think you should build Warmogs anymore. I don't know what patch this is on, but like in general, don't build Warmogs anymore. So your build should look more like Redemption, and then Mikhail's, and then you can go Ardent after that, and then you can go Warmogs maybe last, and maybe at like level 17 or 18 you have the passive. If you don't do that, you should go something like Locket. That'll make you tanky and have shielding. Another thing too is mix up your setup for your Soraka page. Here, let me find like your Soraka page should look like this. And I'll just do it on screen. So your Soraka page should look like this. So it should run Airy, Mana Flow, Celerity, Scorch for most matchups that you poke. Gathering the Storm if you can't poke at all, and then you should try the Resolve Tree, and then take Bone Plating and Revitalize right there. This is what your Soraka page should start looking like. Other than that, that's pretty much it for this lesson. Yeah, that's it for this lesson. So let's be done with that. Okay, so to explain the giveaway now, I am going to refresh my bot. Anyone can enter this, including non-subscribers. Type something in the chat now. So something. It would be really funny. Haha, something.